Hello boys and girls, on my desk right now is another SCX24 build based on the RampCrab LCG chassis. Currently the truck I have with the shortest wheelbase is this Suzuki Jimny, which is also based on the RampCrab LCG chassis. The Jimny uses front C10 links on both front and the back of the vehicle. With this new build, I plan to create something even shorter using Deadbolt front links in the front and C10 front links in the rear. By the way, if you want to know more about this Jimny, I have a build video of it. I'll put the link in the description. All right, the chassis for this new build. This is the standard version of the RampCrab LCG chassis with bumper supports. I don't think I need the bumper supports for this build, but I'll just leave them there. I quite like using RampCrab chassis for custom builds, primarily because they are dirt cheap. But I do find they can be easily adapted to various bodies because of the type of magnetic body mounts included in the kit. Here's one. These are installed on the shock mounting plates of the chassis. And since the chassis rails have these large shock mounting plates, you can place them all along this large area, both in the front and the back. And also, the mount allows plenty of vertical adjustments to find the perfect position, the perfect height for your body. You can even use the mount sideways like this, which is what I did to the rear of the Suzuki Jimny you just saw. All right, so the chassis is partially assembled. I've installed the included brass motor mount on the chassis rails. The RampCrab motor mount or transmission skid plate is the AX24 type with a flat bottom, without mounting points for the upper links. The upper links are mounted to the chassis rails. There are plenty of mounting points for the upper links to get that perfect caster angle. I've installed the links already, and as mentioned, these are Deadbolt front links in the front and C10 JLU or Bronco front links in the rear. They don't match because I'm just using what I have in my parts bin. All right, so let's attach the axles, the shocks, and then the wheels so we'd have a rolling chassis. Okay, there we go. Nothing too fancy here. This is just going to be a trail truck. The axles are the Injora plus 4mm aluminum axles front and back. I know the body is going to be high and heavy, so I want a lot of weight on the axles. So in addition to this MofoRC brass servo mount, I installed a pair of MofoRC Low Slung brass knuckles to keep the front end down, because vehicles with very short wheelbase generally flip front over back very easily. There are a couple of RampCrab parts here up front. This 6 kilogram RampCrab steering servo, this roller bearing steering link. Oh, and also this brass limiting strap bracket. The shocks I'm using are these Injora 40mm big bore shocks. They're quite nice. And the wheels are just some brass Injora wheels with scale beadlock hardware. The tires are some Injora 56mm tires. I keep moving these tires from truck to truck. They look a bit too extreme, and I'm just not sure which truck is the right one for them. Next up, we'll install this motor in transmission. This is a brushless system I'm testing. This brushless motor and ESC combined is like 20 bucks, maybe not even. The motor is this tiny 1106 size motor, I think 4200 kilovolts. Super compact, fits in anything, in any direction. And connected directly to the motor is this ESC. It's just a AM32 based board without BEC, meaning the servo is just going to get whatever voltage the battery puts out. I'm just going to use a 2S LiPo, so I hope that won't be a problem for this particular RampCrab servo. I'm not sure how this setup will perform, we'll see. I've secured the ESC to this battery tray on the chassis. I'm not using the sliders included in the kit, so you might be wondering where the receiver and the battery are. I've hidden them in the body. And now for the body, this is what I prepared for this build. This is a unlicensed 7th generation Suzuki Carry. So from about the 1980s, it is made by a company named WPL. You might have heard of them. They offer some very cheap, near hobby grade, but mostly toy grade RC cars. This body is from one of their more toy grade offerings. They call it the D12 Mini. I have a link in the description where this body is sold on its own on AliExpress. That listing says the body is 1/24th scale. It absolutely isn't. WPL sells this as 1/16th scale, but actually, if I measure the length of the 1:1 Suzuki Carry and compare that to the actual length of this body, it works out to be approximately 1/15th scale, just something to keep in mind. I didn't put too much effort into this body, to be honest. I just added some accessories from DJCrawler, such as this snorkel, and also these Suzuki emblems, and the rear view mirror inside, and the roof lights also came from DJCrawler. These are meant for the TRX4M Defender, but the kit comes with multiple types of mounting brackets. I just used the type for flat surfaces. I didn't do any painting. The plastic is molded in this off-white color. I merely painted the weather strips around the windshield, and also the indicator lenses. And I did some minor weathering to make it look a bit more worn out. Oh yeah, I glued a couple of cargo boxes in the bed and also placed a little 1/64th scale Suzuki Jimny to pretend it's a RC car. I'm gonna 3D print a RC transmitter for that cherry on the cake. What else? Oh yeah, I enlarged the wheel well up front for these tires. I'll probably find a driver for it. I don't have a driver in any of my trucks. Maybe this one gets to be the first. The bottom is where I've hidden the battery and the receiver. K-truck like this are always very front heavy. To help recreate that type of driving dynamics, I'll be tucking a little 380 milliamp hour 2S LiPo in the space underneath the dashboard to place the weight at the very front tip of the vehicle. I wired a power switch to the rear just to make it super easy to turn on and off. The receiver is right here. This is the Flysky R4P receiver, but upside down. I decorated it a bit to make it look like one of those tool cabinets that hang off the side of these K-trucks. I also glued some magnets to the underside of the body, so I can just pop it onto the chassis to attach it like this. Nice and easy. Okay, so this build is pretty much done. Let me connect these cables and we'll go test this thing out on my desktop proving ground to see how it performs. This one is obviously not about performance. The wheelbase is so short and the truck is so tall, it can be flipped so easily. But I have to say, not as bad as I initially thought. Adding a lot of weight to the front really helped with climbing. I chose the +4mm axles to give this truck a near square footprint, hoping it side hills okay. Well, it doesn't. I mean, good enough for what it is, but don't drive this right after driving a comp build. This $20 brushless motor and ESC setup kind of feels like what a $20 brushless motor and ESC setup would. Without a doubt, it does not have the same level of definition as my Furatech systems do. And without a doubt, it's also worse than the Injora brushless system. Worst of all, sometimes when I'm trying to crawl really slowly and come to a big hill, the motor cogs. Not sure if it is because the 1106 sized motor doesn't have enough torque. It's possible. It is just too small a motor. You know what? It's not good enough. The description has a link to every part I used here on this truck except for this motor and ESC combo because I can't recommend this. I made sure I adjusted the ESC parameters properly, selecting the right size KV, right number of poles and all that stuff. It's an AM32 based ESC, so you can use the same programming interface as you do with the Injora brushless system, for example. I would say this feels on par as a brushed motor. I mean, an Injora MB100 brushed ESC plus an Injora purple motor have more finesse than this, definitely. I also find the servo gets extremely hot. Maybe it's a bad idea to use this ESC without a BEC. I thought the specs from RampCrab says it can support up to 8.4 volts. I guess not. I'm not sure at this temperature how long the servo will last. Oh well, we'll figure something out for this truck later. I have other AM32 ESC boards coming in. Something slightly more expensive than this one, and with BEC. Anyway, I'll let you guys know when I come across a cheap brushless setup that I like. That is it for now. Feel free to leave your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.